Superstar Aaliyah Chavez makes her Oklahoma Sooners debut. Can the Sooners build off of their Sweet 16 tournament run from last season?
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Again, I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire and USA Today Sports, and we're going to talk Oklahoma women's basketball because they opened the season on Monday with a big win to get going. We're going to bring in on threes Talia Goodman, to discuss Oklahoma in 2025-2026. But we're going to start with Aaliyah Chavez, Talia, because that was one of the more anticipated debuts for the Oklahoma Sooners in some time. The number one prospect in the 2025 recruiting class. First game. It's not going to tell the whole story of her career, but what did you make of her debut with the Sooners?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I expected her to have some freshman moments, and I think she did. But when you kind of take that away and you look at her pure talent, it's obviously there, and we knew that. And she can do a lot for this team. And they obviously felt confident in that as well. They didn't go and add anybody from the transfer portal. She's the only new addition to this team. So they were confident in her. And I liked what she did. I think, the one thing that she definitely has to work on is her shot selection. And I think she would agree with that as well after that first game. But beyond that, I think the stats and her percentages don't tell the whole story. She did a lot for that team against a really, really tough Belmont team. That's not one you want to take lightly.
You look at the just raw stats and not a great shooting night, but if you just watch her game, I think you can appreciate that she just came into it aggressive. She didn't play a reserve ball game. And that was one of the talking points in the preseason was, hey, we didn't bring you in here to be a passer. We want you to play your game. And I think she did that.
Well, she certainly does not lack confidence, which I like. Sometimes you see freshmen come in and they get a little bit nervous coming in with a new team and they become a little reserved with taking shots. She definitely does not have that problem.
Yeah. And aside from the shooting, what did you make of just her ball handling skills, what she did as a passer? Because she does have a complete ball game.
No, she was good. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think it was like 5 assists, 2 turnovers, which is good for your first game. You will take that any day. And so I was happy with it. I think, she had a good all around performance and she was kind of the piece that this team needed to move forward this year.
Yeah. I think one of the things that was impressive to me was just the ability to see passes that maybe you wouldn't expect her to see because it's on the backside or on the weak side of the court and she's having to make a long pass to get it there, but finding open teammates. And I think that's going to be an exciting aspect of this because JENNIE BARANCZYK, she wants to move the ball, keep the ball moving, keep the team flowing, a lot of ball movement. And I think Aaliyah is going to fit right in with that.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of players on this team who can score the ball. So she's got options in front of her, whether it's throwing it down to RAEGAN or getting it to some of those other players who can maybe shoot the ball a little bit more as well. She has options. She's going to be passing the ball a lot. And I think, she needs to be in that mindset maybe a little bit more even because when she was playing AAU and I watched her, she did everything, but she loved to shoot the ball just as much as you saw the other day. And so I think maybe you get her more in the mind of that playmaker. And obviously she's a scoring threat and you want her to be that, but getting more in the mind of a playmaker will do her good.
Yeah, it's going to be a work in progress as it is for everybody, right? It's a developmental game. Sports are developmental. She's going to continue to get better and better. I think one of the things that I really appreciated was the way that she played defense as well, because just very active, just always moving, always keeping her head on a swivel. And to me, I think that's an element that might've been an underrated aspect of her game.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And I think, when you look at Oklahoma, that's what's expected of them, right? So she wasn't going to come in and not play defense and have that intensity. And so I think this was a really, really good spot for her to end up because JENNIE will push her, right? She'll push her to improve in every aspect of her game. And I think, you see that even obviously it's been one game, but you see that development already in the skills that she's amplifying there.
Now it's a depth game too. It's not just about one player, or even other players. We haven't really talked about RAEGAN, who's one of the best forwards in the country. Oklahoma lost a lot of depth. So what do you expect from this roster? It's not just going to be Aaliyah Chavez. She can't carry this team. It's not going to just be RAEGAN Beers or Peyton Verhulst. They've got to get contributions elsewhere. What do you expect this team to look like?
Yeah, I don't think they're very deep. I think that is kind of their weakness right now, is that they're not the deepest team in the country. I think they're going to need their other two freshmen to really step up as well alongside. You talk about Chavez all the time, but you need the other two to play their role and contribute. They're not going to be expected to be superstars in year one, I don't think, either of them, but they need to step up and be able to come in when those starters need some time off. I don't know that there's a lot of other players. Like, we saw Beatrice Colton actually have a really good game the other day. We did, which I wasn't expecting her to contribute as much as she did. But your starting talent is there. I feel confident with them kind of going through the season. But if, God forbid, there are injuries or whatever happens through the rough of a season, it could be tough because they aren't the deepest team.
Yeah, I like the front court with obviously RAEGAN Beers, but Sahara Williams as well. She's somebody that can fill up the basket if you give her a lot of opportunities. And then Peyton Verhulst is just a really well-rounded player, can do so many great things. And I think more as we see this team kind of grow together, they'll figure themselves out a little bit more, because Peyton Verhulst has to have the ball in her hands. She's just too good to not have it very often.
Yeah, no, she's one of my favorite players in the country. I have been watching her for a while, but kind of when it clicked for me how good she was I was in Vegas last year when they played Kansas State, I believe it was, in that Thanksgiving tournament, and I just could not stop watching her the entire game. I couldn't watch anything other than her. She's so talented, and she really is one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah, because she does everything just so well. She plays good defense. And they talked about it in the broadcast in the first game, where she can play the 1, she can play the 4, she can handle the ball. She just does everything so well. And I think that's an important aspect for this team, that yes, you want to develop Aaliyah Chavez, but you cannot neglect Peyton Verhulst handling the basketball for you and running your offense.
Absolutely. No, she's good. She makes this team better. She's consistent. She rarely has off nights, which is what you need from a player like her.
The question, because they don't have a lot of depth, they don't have a lot of experience compared to last year's team that went to the Sweet 16, is what does this team look like when they get to SEC play? Now, they've got a big test next Monday against UCLA. That's going to be huge, but that game is not going to tell the whole story for what this season can be for the Oklahoma Sooners. So how do you think that they stack up in the SEC? They were picked 4th in the preseason. Do you feel like they're going to be able to finish around there? Do you think that that's going to be tough for them this year?
No, I think, 4 or 5 is kind of where I'd project them right now. I think for me, it's a toss up between them and Tennessee, especially after watching Tennessee yesterday. I know they lost, but they looked, darn good in the process of doing it. So I think it's kind of a toss up between those two, but you're not going to, at least I don't think you're going to beat out the LSU, Texas, South Carolina gauntlet. But I think that 4 or 5 range is a pretty safe bet. It's obviously a tough schedule, no matter, whether it's non-conference or conference play for Oklahoma this year. So they're going to have some tests to get themselves there, but I think it'll make them better when you come to tournament play.
You mentioned that upper tier of the SEC. Now, it's really early in the season, so we're not going to hold you to anything, but who's the team that you like the most? To me, it's hard to pick against Dawn Staley in South Carolina. They've just been so good for so long. But do you think that there's a team that's going to be able to kind of rise above them and knock them back a peg or two?
I think Texas has the chance to this year. I really do. I think they're deeper than South Carolina is. I think you add someone like Aaliyah Crump into the mix who can shoot the ball, which was Texas's real weakness last year and a big reason they lost that game in Columbia. And once they get Ashton Judd back, she's another one who can shoot the ball. She's going to be out for a little bit with injury, but she's, going to come back this season and she'll be a big help. And then you just can't doubt a team that brings back Madison Booker and Rory Harmon. I find it hard to. And South Carolina has, and I've said this, they have so much talent. All of their players, very talented. They're not deep. They're kind of similar to Oklahoma, but I actually think they're less deep. I just feel like their starting talent, very, very strong. Love the 2 transfers they added in. But with Chloe Kitts being out for the year, Ashlyn Watkins being out for the year, it's tough. I think they're going to have to stay healthy. Under no circumstance can anyone else get injured this year. And I think they'll still be in a tight race with Texas in my mind, but I think Texas might have the edge this year.
Now, outside of the SEC, who's a team that you feel like can have a nice run, maybe go win it all. You know, UConn do you think that they'll take a step back without Paige Beckers?
No, not even a little
Okay.
bit. After watching them, last night and seeing what they can do, I don't think there's anyone that can beat them this year. I don't.
Wow.
I don't know if it'll be close with, especially in the Big East, which has kind of been the case. But I think they're the deepest team in the country. I think they are the most talented team in the country. You have someone like Sarah Strong. You have someone like AZ Fudge who can shoot the ball. Like, I do not want to, play against that team if I'm anybody.
So it's UConn against the world, it sounds like.
In my, right now, obviously so early, but when you
Right.
bring back as much as they bring back, and then you add two talented transfers who we saw, last night can really make an impact. And I wasn't sure how they'd kind of adjust. And it looks like, Sarah Williams, it might take a little bit of time, but Kaylee Heckel came in, played really well, bring some players back from injury. I just don't know if there's a team that's stronger than them.
When you look at the Big Ten, who do you think the favorite is there?
It's UCLA right now. Would love to see them with Sienna Betts back in the mix. Don't know how long she's going to be out for, but I think she'll be a big part of what they do. Lauren Betts is my National Player of the Year front runner right now, I would say. So when you have someone like her on the team, you have a lot more depth. You can get Kiki Rice back to her natural position by putting Charlize Ledger-Walker in at point guard. I just think they're also very, very deep. Add Gianna Neepkins, who's, one of the best scoring threats in the nation. They're going to be a tough one to beat, and I think it'll be an interesting game for Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's going to be a marquee matchup and one that'll definitely have a lot of eyes on it. Yeah. Do you think that Oklahoma is capable of building off of that Sweet 16 run? Do you think that they've got an Elite Eight or a Final Four run in them this year?
I think it's possible. I don't know if it's what I would project right now, but I think that's, the ceiling. I think an Elite Eight for me is probably, I don't know, just with the depth that we were talking about before is the one thing that worries me when you come to March. During the season, you can kind of handle that, but when you're playing however many games back to back to back to back, it's tough. The deeper teams wind up winning. It's just kind of how it pans out. And so I think it'll be important to see how the freshmen really grow this year alongside Aaliyah Chavez, who obviously has looked very good. And so I think development is kind of the key throughout this season that we'll need to see in order to know what this team ceiling is.
Yeah, a lot of minutes coming for a lot of freshmen this year and a lot of underclassmen, and they're going to have to be ready because you don't have a lot of veterans that you can lean on aside from RAEGAN Bears and Peyton VERHULTZ and Sahara Williams, Beatrice Coulatin. Those are kind of your key veterans.
I mean,
it's going to be up to the youngins to step up.
The good thing is that you do return a lot in comparison to the rest of the country if you're Oklahoma, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to really integrate any transfers into the mix. Yes, there's freshmen, but that's normal for the college landscape.
Yeah,
the part of it is new. But you bring back a lot more than most teams do, which is good because these players have played together for years and can help integrate the freshmen in.
Well, and when you have an easy button like RAEGAN Beers in the middle, it kind of makes everything go, right?
I love her. She's so good. Watching her at Oregon State was fun. Watching her at Oklahoma now is so much fun. I think she's gotten better and better every year, and she's one of the best, forwards in the country. So
yeah. What's been awesome to see is just developing the outside game. Anytime you can see her drop a three in transition, you're like, whoa, okay, there's RAEGAN Beers again.
No, it's fun. I love it. I love when post players can shoot the ball and stretch the floor. It's always fun.
Let's finish with this. Talk about JENNIE BARANCZYK and just kind of the job that she's done in her 4+ years now at Oklahoma. I think when the Iowa job came open, we all kind of held our breath a little bit and just hoped that they weren't going to target our girl. But what have you made of her, just kind of watching her at Oklahoma?
I think she's done a great job. I think the biggest thing for me and kind of going back to this point is the retention. It's really hard in this day and age to retain the players that you want to retain, right? And she's been able to do a very, very good job of that. And done a really good job on the recruiting trail and in the transfer portal and adjusting to this, new way of college athletics. And I've been really impressed. I've watched a lot of Oklahoma since she's been there. And they're a really, really fun team to watch. She coaches good basketball, fun basketball. And that was what Aaliyah Chavez said even during her recruitment as to why, she was considering Oklahoma at the time is because of the way that they play. You can tell that JENNIE, knows the game so well and the players love playing her style of play. And it's fun. So I think she's done, an exceptional job since she got there. I think it's only going up from here. She's done a really good job on the recruiting trail, like I said. So I think the future is looking bright for Oklahoma.
Yeah, she's somebody that's just a lot of fun to root for because she's so passionate and energetic and just loves the game and obviously loves her players, but just her energy on the sidelines is just must-see TV for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's fun. I'm watching a lot of Oklahoma this year, so excited.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more eyes on them. It's a team again with a superstar like RAEGAN Beers, a great player in Peyton VERHULTZ, and then obviously one of the more exciting freshmen in Aaliyah Chavez. TALIA Goodman of On3, go check out her work, written work, podcast work. You're doing it all for women's basketball and more, I'm sure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a blast. We'll hope to have TALIA back on down the road to continue talking Oklahoma women's basketball. Follow Locked On Sooners wherever you get your podcast and on social media as well. Until next time, I'm John Williams. She's TALIA Goodman. Boomer Sooner.